Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. And here I am with you, Martin Wong, Money Talk with SmartRobie. So thank you for coming today. We are very indeed proud of our show that we have done. And so far, we have done up almost 46 episodes. That's right. And thanks to your support and coming from our live FB, we've been doing this very, very well. And what we want to do is to summarize a lot of the corporate news, a lot of the KLSE news, and bring it to you because there are opportunities to be found everywhere. Good morning to everyone. Then those of you who are joining us this hour, thank you for coming and thank you for sharing your time, your precious time. So since it is your precious time, let's make it started, shall we? Now let's go on to our first story of today. Okay. Now, first story of today is no other than, right, again, tied to what has happened during the COVID-19, right? This morning, as we look at the market, right, the FBM KLSE is up slightly, just 2.1556. Now, this is also due to the response of the better Malaysia export and import figures. If you can see from the chart in front of you on the left hand side, January to June, we have dipped. We all know we came from COVID-19. But what is also significant, you can see this so-called recovery that you see in the market, and that is coming back. There is a question in here, George asked about Genting. We're going to talk about Genting in one of the story in here. All right. So also take note, Malaysia export expected to moderate decline in 2020. So this, what you just saw, the charts that went down due to the COVID-19, but the export is expected to increase. Now the same question some of you ask, why did Genting, which show a lot of loss, but started to go up? It's kind of strange, right? This is what we call the great disconnect. Same thing what you're seeing right now. Why is the market going up? Because they are looking at export increasing 8.8. That's just the logic. Many of us are trained not to look into the future. We are trained to look in the past. So usually that is one of the facets of a lot of investor. We call it unskilled. So it's your job to become skillful. And one way is to watch our breakfast show and continue to follow us on our Trade VSA and use our tools, especially SmartRobie, which you can download it too. Now, for those of you who are listening for the first time, type 1. And thank you very much for following in us here. Now, let's move on to what we have for you. Also, is the export is expected to see further decline 3.5% this year compared to 1.7%. So this is what the figures is showing. But all in all, it's looking very positive and very rosy, as we can see the market now has looking to increase. So June export figure is expected to be up 8.8% after a May and April decline of -23 and -25. That's where the market tumble is at. It takes a courage, to be frank with you, to really go in and buy when the news is bad. Right now, the news is still not rosy. It's still a lot of uncertainty. To me, ladies and gentlemen, that's a time you want to be brave and have the courage to go in and buy. That is what is all investing is all about. You cannot make money when everything is so safe, when you felt that there is no chance of losing money. You go and buy, what happened? That's what happened to Hartalega, isn't it? All those good news that came out and people say, look, this thing is going to the moon because of the COVID-19. And guess what? Hartalega was the right price at the end. Also, you noted there is a sign of weakness, which is the uptrend. Something that we use in technical analysis that we teach in our masterclass. For those of you who wanted to upgrade your skill, you might want to consider coming to our masterclass, which is coming October, or just use SmartRobie. We have those sign of weakness called UT and observe from there onwards. All right, let's move on to our next story that we have for you is no other than the property market. That's right. The property market continue to see recovery that we show in here right now. So this is important. That's why the focus of Money Talk Breakfast Show is to teach all of you able to rotate out from what is already hot. Because many people tend to hear and buy things based on friends and what people talk. Hey, did you buy some rubber glove? Not. And then they started, oh yeah, and they tell a lot of story. This is due to the level of engagement that most people have with their friends or through their Facebook. So generally those tend to be very biased in the sense. So it's very important to look at the media and able to interpret the news to have that in your advantages. Do why I say this makes sense? Right? So if I say, man, give me a thumbs up, because that's what I'm trying to teach you guys, to look at the market and not to have a biased opinion, because there are people out there to get your money. Your job is to learn about what's the fact and what is not, and able to differentiate that and able to capitalize on that. That's how simple it is. Being an investor like myself, after more than 15 years, I want to teach some of these skills for you that I have benefited many of my clients and myself and my members, so you can do that too. That's just my honest feedback to all of you who wanted to be a skillful investor. If you want to be a skillful investor, just type in there, skill investor. At least I know my intention are there to serve you and to help you to get to that. So definitely property market. Right now, a lot of people are not looking at property market because of, wow, interest rate so low and people don't have money, MCO. But if you look at it, this report, it continued to be a gradual in there. No doubt, the sales target has dropped 30 to 40% to 1.4 billion due to COVID-19. But along the same line, you can see Matrix Concept, which is a big developer in Seremban. And many of you who live in Seremban, those of you who live in Seremban, type Seremban. So at least I know you are there and say hello, right? Seremban too. So here is an interesting news that Matrix Concept has sold more properties during the MCO. But again, do take note, especially the star media tend to be very biased because a lot of these property players, they actually pay a lot of advertisement. Don't forget, they buy advertisement using the big names inside there. So this is where they would tend to write about them. So at least it gives what we call a positive valuation. Yesterday, I was talking to one of my staff and really teaching her about valuation, which is very important, because she did ask me, there's one provider, no names mentioned, education provider, is telling people all the tech stocks and rubber glove stocks are undervalued. So then she said that, well, how can it be undervalued when you look at the return on equity and the PE valuation is so much higher? So that is a lot of misinformation and what a lot of the educational provider are teaching in there, especially those of you who are unskilled. You will fall into this trap, because why? When you don't know much, you tend to follow what is popular to be in a safe side. Very important, as I tell people, learn the skill, learn from us, and that's what we want to do. So this is just purely from a side where what is popular, the rubber glove, we move away. We have started moving that since May and June. Now we talk about plantation, we talk about the wood industry, which is the furniture. Then the 2 weeks before, we talk about the COVID-19 vaccine. And then this week, we started to talk about what? Can you remember? Yes, the plastic maker EMS. If you have not watched that video, go over to YouTube and watch it. We find that our series of video together with the SmartRobie will form an education for you to get you informed and become a skilled investor like many of our members has come to. So do join our Trade VSA, and we have a Trade VSA Telegram. Do sign up. It's totally free for all those purposes. All right, let's move on. Now, also in the same side, a lot of economists and a lot of analysts are asking people to focus on earnings. This is what the news is all about from the UOB asset managers. Talk about the bull run has slowed down significantly and struggled to break above the 1600. Remember, last high on 30th of December was 1618. So we are still in that down mode. And of course, you all may know, because this is all due to the extended fall down of the rubber glove, isn't it? No doubt, the good things are still in healthcare. Then the next question many of you ask, can we buy rubber glove? I think in many ways you can, but right now it's still very, very hot. News coming up very hot also. So that's where I tell people, look to buy on the pullback, which is advanced setup. And that's where you want to be buying things when people are not that interested. And one way to do that is look at SmartRobie, looking at the trading plan, and also looking at the charts, which is provided by our Pentagon guiding system in there. So here talks about the best time to pick stock is on earnings prospect in here. Now, if you compare on the right hand side, this is where a lot of small cap stock has gone up a lot. I hope you can see that, but let me read up to you. Solution, Bintang, Bintai, Kindle, all this, and particularly, you know, there are the old media also talk about, especially from the Star Age, talk about there is one stock called Focus Dynamic, right? Let's look at Focus Dynamic. This fella has run so much, I tell you, Focus Dynamic, DYMA, yeah, Focus Dynamic, and let's see that stock. Focus Dynamic with a S. Okay, let's look at the stock price. And you can see from here, look at that chart. It's crazy, isn't it? Right? So this is where this same news that the Star Edge was talking about. News like this, where it hasn't made any money, but you look at this stock, it went from 60 cents, right? All the way to 2 ringgit 60 cent to 2 ringgit 60 cent. So actually it has gone like what? That's why you notice Solution, all this has gone 600 and 800% return. But again, these generally are speculative play. So if you're buying on margin, beware. You can make money, but you can lose money. I think very important is try not to kill yourself in that process. Like many of our members, we tell them, look, money is to be made every time of the year, not just this small cap. It's just that during this small cap run that we see, many investors comes in, but many of them are unskilled, and it's my job to put some skill into you, or at least help you, to inform you through SmartRobie. If you think we are doing a good job, give us another thumbs up too. All right, so let's look at the focus lumber in here. All right, so you can see right now, let's look at the fundamental on focus lumber. All right, and you can shift that to fundamentals. I believe there's nothing much on that one. You can see, wow, this is one of the highest PE I've ever seen, 42,000. And the ROE is only 28 times. So you can see why, I don't even know what they do, actually, to be frank with you. Wow, if you want to find out, just hit focus lumber. Wow, this is a record, a PE of 42,000 times. So the question always falls back, how do I trade this? Definitely this is not a fundamental stock, but a speculative play. So you have to trade based on charts. It's fine. Have a small exposure in there. Learn to follow the smart money. That's what we teach. Basically, the point being an investor as a trader, you should have mind of both. There's a lot of opportunity in a small cap stock. You should not ignore it, but don't overdo it, but focus on the big part. So when you look at the whole thing, being the investing side and the trading side, you benefit too, especially in this one. And that's something we really highlight and teach in our masterclass. If you are an investor, learn to speculate. If you are just pure speculator, learn to invest. You have the best of both worlds. That's what we teach in Trade VSA. All right, let's move on to our next story. Okay. Now the next story talks about the old speculative play. Remember Transmile? Any of you remember Transmile or not? All right, Transmile. Yes, that's right. Transmile was a blast from the past, where it was actually supported by the Robert Kwok company inside their carry groups, and because of that, this stock actually run from something like $5 or $6 to $13, and there was a falsification of the submission of the financial statements in there. But that was almost 10-20 years ago. Eventually, Transmile, they have a couple of aircraft very, very close to the airport where I'm staying here in Subang Airport. I live in Damansara area here. So this is where the Transmile TGB has some falsification. But what's really great about this story, despite this has been ongoing for 10 years, the suffering of this CEO and former founder, Gan Bun An, right? He was just jailed for 1 day and fined 2.5 million. I believe in many ways, some of the smart money associated with Transmile would have benefited that too. And again, there are a lot of smart money who have benefited. I'm not sure they have benefit and some parties would eat. But the story is, it pays to follow the smart money. It pays to be a smart money too, right? Because sometimes if we look at these things, right, they all get away with it, isn't it? So especially if you look back, this is 10 years. Right now, today, we still have this small speculative play. So that's why it's important, those of you to know, to learn to use the chart. Learn it. And once you learn it like I learned it 10 years ago, today, no problem, I can read the chart. But if you're not, let SmartRobie teach you too. Yes, the judge was too lenient. Okay. Never mind, they paid the fine, George. All right, let's move on to our next story. In here, we see Maybank. That's right. Now, banking stocks, we all know about interest rate cuts. This is from the CEO of Maybank, Group President and CEO, Dato Abdul Farid alias believe the worst is over for the banks. I think it is in many ways because of the COVID-19. So again, going back what I've just said, you want to be buying when there is panic. No doubt another interest rate cut it's expected, but although the group CEO of Maybank doesn't follow so, but I believe after that interest rate cut this coming September or end September, that is a time to buy Maybank or some of the banking stock. Let's look at Maybank now, okay, for what it is. Okay, Maybank. Okay, let's look at the stock price, stock chart. Okay, and you can see, let's switch it on. All right, so you can see Maybank is really not going anywhere at all. It's stuck at around $7, 7.50%, and still a red pentagon in here. So the best time is actually wait for the interest rate cut. If they're going to announce that, that's going to be coming so very soon. So that's the time to buy. But anyway, if you ask my opinion, no doubt this is non-Sharia. My better pick is always public bank. Let's take a look at public bank. It's very similar to those banking stocks. Public bank has the best ROE. How do we know that? We just hit stock fundamental. ROE refer to the equity, which is 12.55%. At least you get 4.5% dividend. Something for those of you who are retiree. And guess what? A rated 5 out of 8. Yeah, now I started to like public bank, isn't it? Right? Public bank is going to make you money. And if you look there, target price 15.5 times. I think that will take some time. At least maybe we're talking about end 2021, a 30% upside at 21.68. Right now, yesterday closing is $16.60. Okay, so we are just looking for 11 times PE going up to 15.5 times PE with a 21.68 target price. Okay, let's look at public bank. Okay, for this reason in here, I still have public bank, no doubt about it, and you can see very similar to the what we just saw for Maybanks. All right, now this is why this is really good. By the time public bank goes up, maybe next year I'll talk about it. I say, I told you so, right? I told you to buy when public bank was 5 out of 8 ratings, isn't it? Right? Now the tech stock can't be undervalued. The banks are. All right, take note of it. Now let's move on to this summary of this, what I want to say. The net profit for Maybank fell by 51.55% to 941 million from 1.9 billion. You saw that 50% drop. Revenue also dropped 11.79 billion from 13 billion for the same time ending. But something very, very positive is no other than telecom. That's right. Now telecom, like it is, or COVID-19, we all benefit, right? We talk about the digitization. Everybody is WFH. What does that stand for? Working from home. Many of you are working from home, just like me and you. I'm doing this show from home too. So that has prompted a lot of demand on the high-speed broadband. How many of you using high-speed broadband? Right? How many are using high-speed broadband at home? I'm sure a lot of you are using high-speed broadband. So that's why this story talk about the demand of high-speed broadband. If you look at TMNet, this stock has really been beaten down. Like it or not, this is still considered as technology stock. In US, we call it the Communication Services, XLC. Those of you who came to a masterclass, I talk about XLC, and that is what we call a rotational strategy to go into this. So something about Telekom Malaysia, again, you can have a good play on this. You can see Telekom Malaysia sudah turun, isn't it? Right? And then finally, before 2 days before this news came out, SmartRobie were able to pick up the green pentagon. That's how SmartRobie is able to pick those before the good news comes out. It looks at the volume, it looks at the price, and able to tell you so. So this is something that many of us are very unskilled. It will take many years to develop it, but SmartRobie able to pick it up and able to tell you so. So it is ahead. In this case, 2 days before this news came out. The power of Pentagon Guider. Now, in this news, same thing. Telekom Malaysia talks about the continuing growth in the MCO and where the net profit really rose 140 million, 140% to 274 million from 1 year ago, 114 million due to the COVID-19. But very positive, I think, if you have a chance, another investing stock which is better than AirAsia. AirAsia, people talk about it, whether I want to buy. To me now, if you ask me, AirAsia, can we buy? Yes, it's a good buy on speculative play, right? But going forward, there'll be a lot of turbulence. Again, something you must be able to slip through it. But let's look at telecom in here. The CEO also said the growth momentum will continue to the third quarter, but I do believe the earnings may not be as strong as it is, so look for a pullback. But the demand for the high-speed broadband and services, digital services, will continue to go into future. So something you want to take note of. Okay. Now, let's move on to our next story that we have for you. Is no other than Kpower. Now, Kpower is really a renewable energy, a really good stock. And this fella already jalan a lot already, to be frank with you. Kpower, let me just show you here, right? Has moved up a lot already. You can see here the stock price and stock chart really shifted up a lot. And you can see here, just again, SmartRobie, just like Telecom, were able to pick it up 4 days early on the green pentagon. Can you see the green pentagon on the 23rd of August? Very, very soon. So one way to do this is actually look at the green pentagon on the Pentagon Guider. Use it at night if you don't want to pay for it. There is on the front menu there. And look for those stocks, right? What are the news behind? And there's news. So I'm training you to look at the news, look at the charts, and look at the fundamental. That way, you're 360 degrees well covered. To me, that is the most optimum strategy to look into market. Many methodology just look one, fundamental. They don't look at charts. They don't look at news. So we combine all three, then you're all-rounder. This is a system that we have developed Trade VSA over the 15 years experience. And now we're bringing into a little small apps called SmartRobie. And thank you a lot, okay? So some of you are using Maxis on TMNet, but SNIT's not so high. That's right. Okay, so the Kpower, it's a renewable energy way, just like SL West. So those of you who want to have a bit of play on the solar power, this is definitely one chart to look at. Look for the pullback in here. What is also interesting about this same story, they talk about the book order currently stand at 1.3 billion and they're looking at another 2 billion there. So Kpower is something, a good play on renewable energy. One of the things I really want to share with you guys is learn to play this kind of thematic, learn to play this kind of stock like TM, Public Bank, Maybank, and Kpower rather than the penny stock. I think penny stock it's fine if you dedicated a small portion of your strategy to that. But then again, you have to ask yourself, how much time do I have? If you are retired like the baby boomer, you use a different strategy. But if you are new millennium and if you have time to watch this show, I can safely tell you, you are somewhere in between. Am I correct? If I'm correct, type a 4, right? You can do a little bit of penny stock just to get, the wow, and then you want to also invest in the longer term. Think about our masterclass. It's something we want to really coach you over a period of 1 year and train you. Because if you just get a little bit here and there, no doubt it's good. But when you're ready to upgrade, look for us. You know where to find us. The next course will be definitely in October. All right. So, next story, we talk about Genting, right? This is the part where some people say, hey, so bad. You can see here the rate negative, right? The rate negative here, which is the earnings fell off the roof. If you look at it over the 2019, the quarterly earnings has been in a decline because of sheer competition, no doubt, sheer competition. And Genting, like it or not, it's grown so much. The fixed cost is a lot, and they really have to grow. And then when you have something like that, the COVID hapus, all right. But what has happened is that they pay shareholders. Okay, they pay shareholders, so that's why you saw Genting move out. Let's look at Genting today, right? Genting Malaysia. This is Genting Group. Yeah, never mind. It's a pretty similar. Genting Malaysia and Genting Group. So look at stock price, should be down today. Oh, it's still up, $2.30. All right, $2.30 in here. So possibly my take is that many of the Lim family are also Genting shareholders. So when they pay dividend, they also get it too. And one thing too, if you don't pay dividend, a lot of people will trouble. At least from the institutional standpoint, a lot of people will say, hey, they're still paying dividend. They say, why you get out? If you don't pay dividend, this thing will fall some more. Am I right? So to me, this is just what we call a band-aid to blood flowing out from the heart. A small band-aid, blood flow. They have to fix this. And in longer term, I don't think this is going to be fixed that easily. Like the leisure business won't come back until 2023. But at least the finance will come back much sooner. All right. Okay, Ken asked about the masterclass. No doubt, no problem. We'll get to give you some information. Okay, now let's move on to our next story in here, which is MYEG. Now, MYEG talk about the second quarter continue to improve 63 million. Now, again, one of those stocks, not many people talk about it, and this is why we want to look at it. If you look at MYEG, you look at the stock fundamental, right? It's very nice. You can see, rated 5 out of 8. Again, getting away from technology, getting away from rubber glove, getting away from healthcare, and getting away from pharma. And this is the digitization of the passport, of the government services, and your foreign workers one, Suma Sini Ada. So you can see this is rated 5 out of 8, very good. And you can see target price 165, currently about 140, just an upside of 12%. But more importantly, look at the charts. Okay, I want to train you guys to look at the charts inside here. Oh, very nice. You look at it, very nice. Green Pentagon hasn't moved yet. Maybe something you want to take a look. All right. Now, this is very similar to one of the stocks I've talked about earlier on, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Revenue Group. Okay, take a look at Revenue Group. And I have that on my YouTube too. And there are some reasons inside there you should look at it. All right. Okay, let's look at the next section or story that I have for you here. All right, which is no other than the KLSE news discovery. Now, one of the ways you can do that is because we have feedback from many members. Look, I don't know much about Pentagon, I don't know much about trading, but I like to buy stocks on news. This is very, very suitable for those of you who is the baby boomer that you see on the bottom side, and also the young one who only want to buy when there are news. So this one in here, you can see right at this time, we have server dynamics. You can see, right, server dynamics, and the news says that very positive, but Pentagon is red. That's right. So which means the stock hasn't jalan yet, because if very jalan, Pentagon will turn, but it hasn't jalan yet. So I'm teaching you how to buy even before the Pentagon turn red. So you can see here, server dynamics definitely very your views on revenue if possible. Go and watch my talk on that one, right? Things that I repeat before I ask you, and go and go and watch the video in there. Then for the trading plan, just look at Robie, that will able to help you. So this is where we talk about server dynamics. I think server dynamics is a good play. The oil and gas is coming back. Just go and look at the oil chart. If the oil chart breaks, server dynamic will move on. But you want to get in now. If you look at server dynamic, it is an undervalued stock, pays a good dividend in here. But right now, I want to show you something, which is the current one. This is just, I just keyed Kajaya, which is very positive, a green Pentagon, because MCO weight on Kajaya. Then you have Hapsing in here, you have Bursa rises, and then QL. QL Resources, first quarter steady despite revenue slip. So we can look at QL, okay? All right, QL. But QL too expensive. I think many of you may not want to buy it. But I have it. I bought around $6. So you see, this is a very nice chart for QL. No doubt, you can see lots of accumulation in here. Again, if the next quarter were to move up against the quarterly report, how do we know that? Right, for QL, you can go to trading plan, hit that one. Let's see when's the next trading plan. The next quarterly earnings. Can you see that? Medium target is 1085. The next quarterly date is 28th of August. So let's see. 28th of August is actually today. The quarterly should be out. Oh yeah, it's already out. That's right. That's what they just mentioned just now, right? That let's go in the news in here to find out. They did mention the first quarter is steady despite revenue slip amid favorable CPO prices. It dips below. So the news is already out. Let's look at QL today. Is it up or down? Up. It's edging there 0.4%. So that's one way to look at it. If you have time, right now, the KLSE news discovery is free, especially if you're caught on meeting, nothing to do. Take out Robie, click, 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 all right, just like what I did here. And I go back to this news. I want to hit Hapsing, I hit 3034, then I look at the stock chart. No, you know what? If you continue to do this, you're training yourself to be a good investor as well as a trader. That's SmartRobie promised to you if you follow them diligently. So you look at the Hapsing continue to fell down in here from 788, right, on low volume in here, and finally the red Pentagon comes out. All right, so should you exit or not? Look at the trading plan. All right, let's move on to our next section in here. Now the next section is definitely a good trade that came out, which was DGSB for the 21st of August 2020. We have an upside of plus 9.6% in here. A good trade happened to happen on the 17th of August. All right, so let's move on to the stock pick for today. Now the stock pick for today is no other than Censof. Okay, Censof is the stock pick for 28th of August 2020. The last week's stock Encom went up too fast, so the thing came back in here, but I think it still should able still to hold. So let's take a look at that one too. But right now I want to look at Censof, which is the 51, okay, key in here 5195. This again is a technology stocks, right? And we go on to the stock price, stock chart in here. You can see here this chart, I think, looking to break out. All right, so you can see here, it's all, we got spring, we got confirm no demand. That's a good one too. That's something Zac used to talk about it. So make sure you catch him tonight 9:30 on the stock analysis, at 9:30 on the same live Facebook at Martin T.F. Wong in here. So Censof looks good, okay? And let's look at another one right now. Since we have a bit of time, I'm going to look at the premium alert, which is going to be, you have FCAD, Allianz, Comnet, this one Supernet already jalan a lot, Tasco, Iconic, OCK, another telecommunication again, just like what we just said about TM. Okay, hit that one, 0172, hit the stock price. We want to look at the stock chart, and 7%. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Okay, let's look at it. Let's look at the stock chart. Hit that one. Again, premium alert tend to be speculative in nature. We don't look at the fundamental. It's all buy, get that price, hit and run. Okay, this stocks, I think earning is out today, or OCK, you can see. This one, not so nice. We want it for it to build up first. Not so good. We're going to move back to Sarawak consolidation, $3. I know some of you complain, not so much. Scomnet, let's look at Scomnet. This one again, I think is on the healthcare or PPE. I can't remember, but one way to do that is to go on to your news, right? And you can check trading plan, Scomnet, green light, or FDA. So you know lah, with FDA, this got to do with COVID-19. Scomnet, not sure why share price jumped so much. Okay, so this is how you find out what has happened. So instantly you become very, very smart, like SmartRobie. That's right. So let's hit that one, 193 in here. Again, a speculative play in nature for Scomnet. Look at the chart setup first. This is a real time in here. Oh, looks pretty good. I like this. So I will pick Scomnet too. Okay, so let me write this down. I have Censof. So Monday we'll come back and review this, and we have Scomnet. Now do take note, some of the stocks you need to allow it a few days to settle, let the news absorb. It's like cooking your rendang. No, you really have to let the chicken, the smell comes in, give it 5 or 6 days, see whether it runs. If it doesn't run, then cut it or scratch it. That's the case. A lot of the stocks you notice just now, I just shared with you. DGSB was picked on 17th of August. Today is 28th. So you can see that's almost 1.5 weeks, or 5 or 6 days, it start to move up. Overall, the trend of the small cap stocks continue to go up. I believe we would see higher high in here. All right. So that's all we have for the premium. But do join us tomorrow, 2 p.m. for another great session, which I'll share with you, the best-in-class value trading. Something when we talk about it today, but we will combine it all using quantitative value investing, using Ken Slim magic numbers together with my two coaches and trainer, Arif and Zac, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Check us then right now, and we will be here with you at 2 p.m. All right? Same time. Don't forget the 31st of August, if you have time, join us for a Bursa version launch of our SmartRobie. Kalau version Bursa kita akan cakapkan dalam hari 31st August, hari kemerdekaan at 11 a.m. is our official launch of our SmartRobie. So make sure you catch us on the live FB in here. With that, I bid you a good day and have the best day of today. Do join us, those of you who are first time. This is our QR code. You can see also on the right hand side, and we continue to give you free information, good information, powerful information, so it will put money in your pocket with SmartRobie. With that, bye bye. I see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Same place, same time. Bye.